little book of fairy tales. The Coffee Residue Caterpillars. In a faraway town, there lived some people who loved drinking a lot of coffee. They drank coffee at any time of day or night. Even at lunch and dinner, very often the meal was replaced by 3 or 4 cups of coffee. Coffee was the real engine of everyone's life. Each dweller knew the secrets of coffee very well, and everyone knew all the ways of making it. Every day of the year was marked by a great discussion about coffee. Competitions were organized for who made it best. Articles illustrating the qualities of coffee were published in the local newspaper, and conferences were held on the importance of drinking coffee. Therefore, of course, there were large stocks of coffee in the town. All of this coffee was held in 3 large warehouses that were guarded day and night. Coffee could never be lacking. Otherwise, a revolt would certainly have broken out. So time went by, and the town dwellers consumed lots and lots of coffee all the time. Thus, inevitably, a lot of coffee residue was produced. This was collected every day and taken to a place on the outskirts of the town, where something incredible happened. Caterpillars ate it. Yes, there were caterpillars that were very fond of coffee residue. So, the problem of eliminating the waste was solved. One day, a strong wind blew up and lifted even the smallest animals off the ground. Thus, by chance, a caterpillar stranger arrived among the coffee residue caterpillars, coming from afar. This caterpillar, seeing the other caterpillars feeding on the coffee residue, was amazed. He wondered, "Why do you feed on coffee residue? Don't you eat green leaves like all the other caterpillars?" The caterpillars replied, "What better to eat than coffee residue? What do you suggest?" The caterpillar stranger burst into laughter and replied, "Stop feeding on this rubbish. Get out of here, go into the wood, and start feeding on the tender green leaves. Follow me. I'll teach you how to live." So he started towards the woods. All the coffee residue caterpillars, amazed and intrigued, followed him and left the place where they had lived until then. The consequences were felt in a short time. Large quantities of coffee residue built up, but there were no longer any caterpillars to dispose of them. So the little town was in danger of being submerged by coffee residue. Meanwhile, the caterpillars in the woods had begun a new life, feeding on leaves. Time went by. After a long time had gone by, a coffee caterpillar asked a friend of his, "Do you really like these leaves?" His friend replied, "To tell the truth, no. I don't know what I'd give for some coffee residue. And you?" "I too am dying to eat coffee residue, but here in the woods there is none. I'm sick of leaves." These words that the two caterpillars had said to each other went around the forest, and in a very short time, all the coffee caterpillars realized that they only wanted one thing: to go back to where they came from, to feed on the coffee residue. However, they didn't dare do so, as they were ashamed of having gone away. Meanwhile, the dwellers of the little town had become submerged in coffee residue and no longer knew where to put it. Everyone hoped the caterpillars would come back. A situation that no one knew how to resolve had arisen. Things were getting worse, both in the wood among the caterpillars and in the town, when, one morning, a very intense cold came to the wood. It got so cold that everything froze. Within a few days, the caterpillars had no more leaves to eat. They realized that the risk of starvation had become real. They wanted to get back to the coffee residue, but they couldn't do so. They didn't know how to solve the situation, when a caterpillar said, "What if this is a bad dream? We have to wake up. And to do that, we have to go home, to the place where the coffee residue is." It was an enlightenment. Everyone agreed. The caterpillars returned from where they had come from and began to eat the coffee grounds which, in the meantime, had been burying the town. The dwellers were amazed to see the caterpillars return, but were very happy about it. To those who had been wondering why they had all gone away, one would answer that, perhaps, it had just been a bad dream. Over at last.